Top five.
Yeah, girl, you ready to do this? You ready to count this thing down? We're doing the top 5, her. Yeah, let's set it off with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ranked Top 5 List of Stuff That Don't Matter. I'm your host, Tuong Law, and I'm in a zoo full of some wild animals. Yeah, roar, roar.
You did it.
Oh, you did do
These
it.
are all my boo. Wait, are cows in zoos? Never mind. Doesn't matter. I'm
The sad ones.
The sad ones. And I have the saddest animal to introduce first as my first guest. A long time since this person has graced the pod cavern with their presence. And I'm just going to introduce them right now. Dan Foerster. How's it going?
Roar! I'm happy to be back.
Okay, roar is my thing. Get your own animal noise.
I have nothing else.
You can't think of a single other animal to imitate.
I've never met one, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Dan, how's it going? It's been a while.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, it has been a while.
You're not drunk today, which is first.
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah. I just woke up basically, so I'm pretty much like in the same kind of state. But...
Yes. Some may say you're even more drunk that way. Some may. I wouldn't, because you should put a drink in your hand. But maybe you want to introduce folks that usually have drinks in their hands.
Yeah. Coming up next here, we got my dear friends. We got Justin.
Hey,
and Shannon.
Whoa, and you're introducing both at the same time? What a first.
Yes, please.
Well,
hey, you know what?
It's going in that order.
Hey.
we are one and the same.
It's
Yes.
true.
Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't call me by my official pod cavern name though, Dan, and I feel
Can I do this?
yeah, I've been asking you to do it and every night and you just fall asleep. So
So to introduce the big guy, the real animal in the sack, Justin, Big Dick Godelie.
The Big Dick Godlies are here in the pod cavern. Now, this is unusual in the way that I would usually, I never have missed a Big Dick Godly prompt ever in the pod cavern in the years that Justin Shannon and Dan have been in the podcast. But Dan insisted, in fact, put a knife to my throat and said, I need to be the first guest to be introduced and to nominate. So sorry, Justin, I missed it.
That's the one.
you know what? It's okay. You know, we see where your strengths lie, Tuong, and we see where Dan's strengths lie, and they're just not there. But I have faith that Dan will get there in the future, and that's okay. You know, we're all life is about learning. And it's a journey.
It is.
So,
yeah. Hey, why are we in this zoo of a podcast today? Let me tell you. It's because we are ranking animals. We've ranked several animals type stuff on podcasts before, but never movies. No. Animals. No. Movies with animals as leads. That's the episode title.
that's what we're doing.
And like usual, actually, I think this is the last 2 or 3 episodes. I kind of like pondered it a little bit, and I can't exactly remember what those last episodes were, but I remember at least for the last 1 or 2, I'd send Justin and Shannon, and maybe Dan was there too, a full fucking list of ideas. And then Justin has one that's just better than all of them. It's like, let's do that one. And I'm like, why did I send you the list? Why do I send you the list?
Because you need to feel like you have some semblance of control. And now that Shannon and myself are here, we're here to reveal to you, you have zero control over this show right now.
You know what?
All right. This is ours for the next hour and a half.
Welcome to Pull the Plug Podcast.
Yeah. It's funny because I literally just recorded an episode, and one of the guests offhandedly said something like, you're losing control of your show, or like, how does it feel to be like outvoted on your own show? And I'm like, it feels the same. This always happens. I am numb to it now. People turn on me. It's fine.
This is officially a takeover. And I think the list that you sent, it's great inspiration for what we don't want to do. And I think that's the value you bring to the table.
Yeah. So get ready, Shannon, to not listen to the next 40 episodes of Pod Cavern shows.
That's right.
So anyways, movies with animals as leads, which I think is actually a phenomenal topic. Thank you for bringing that up, Justin. Now, let's come up with some ground rules for today's episode.
Well, I mean, I think Dan brought it up in the chat earlier today, and I think it's just kind of a clarification, not necessarily a ground rule, but we're talking animated and live action.
Yes.
You know, I didn't have any particular ground rules that like immediately came up for me, though. To me, it's fairly self-explanatory.
I had one, and Dan, you're about to say something, but I'm going to, before everyone takes control away from me, I'm going to assert my dominance here. But I was saying that, like, just no, like, monsters. You know what I mean? Like, those aren't animals. Like,
completely agree.
The example was like Monsters, Inc. Sully is not an animal, I would say.
Godzilla is not an animal.
Yeah, like we're thinking animals, like sure, they can be, I'm super down with like anthropomorphic animals. That's fine. Like it's an animal. And I also would say like as a lead, we should like really lean into that aspect of that. Because like just doing like a preliminary like kind of search of what other people have thought about this, some movies that they list are like, but the animal is not the lead. Or they're like, they're not the main character. They have to be, in my head, the main character or like just toe to toe with another person. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
I think the kind of definer, and there's not really a good definition here, but like if you take this animal out of the movie, you have no movie. Like you have no storyline for your movie. I think that's a good kind of clarifier.
Yeah. Exactly. Dan, you had something you wanted to say?
Two things now. So first thing, Justin just had to ruin my first nomination. Oh, I'm just teasing.
Amazing.
That'd be amazing. You're super keen on going so early. But
No. I started thinking about this today, and then I was like, so movies with animals is least. I started like putting more importance, I think, initially on like the character in the movie that is the animal, like that lead character is like the reason I'm nominating it. But like, or is it the movie? Is it the movie as a whole?
Oh, I see.
You know, like these are movies with the top 5 movies that have animals in the lead. Like, does it mean then like the movie overall is really great, or
so
is
you're concerned about about quality?
Yes, it's like, is it movie or character we're talking about here, or could it be both?
I think it all comes down to the argument you make.
Yeah,
okay.
I do think that if the official title is top 5 movies with animals as leads, so I guess with that wording, it's the movie that we're kind of pointing out. I guess.
But I'm not like a great character, but a bad movie. Or are we accepting both?
So my nominations are the movies themselves. I'm not nominating Sully. Like, that's not a real nomination.
Right.
But it's
like
not
if we're using
Sully
that
from this movie. It's this movie that has Sully, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What else?
I think we got it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we got it. Yeah.
We're
all very.
It's like a subtle distinction, but like I was like, oh, wait a second, because I was really like writing down like character names at first. You know, I was like, this movie, because of this character, and I was like, wait a second.
Well, you're gonna have to shout out the character that you will have to say the character, but yeah,
because there's got to be an animal.
There has to be. There's not many rules to this podcast, guys, but there has to be an animal.
Animal, yeah.
All right, fine.
There could be several, but
I need to adjust my list. So.
Is there any other ground rules that we want to go through?
I think we're good. I think we're set.
I was just thinking in the back of my head, like we kind of talked about this in the pre-show here, but I was just like, man, I wish this was a samples episode. Which
so
this
badly.
is not. This is not a samples episode. We're not tasting beers. We're not eating candy.
We are, but
but we're not ranking it.
Not for the sake of the pod. Yeah,
not for the sake of the pod. And then like my mind went through like, how do I turn this episode into a samples episode? So it's just like, okay, top 5 like movies with animals as leads, and which one would be the tastiest animal to eat?
Which animal would you cook?
Which animal would you cook? What fictional animal would we cook? And how do we bring that to the table that we can eat?
I think I mean, and you can cut this tongue, but I think top 5 tastiest Pokemon could be a good episode.
I will not cut that because I was kind of thinking the same thing. But
beautiful.
Not just Pokemon, anything.
Animals.
Except for humans. Humans are off the table. We're not doing
that. There's already a clear number 1.
Shannon's out. All right, let's get into it. Just like every episode of Ranked, we're going to go around 3 times, nominating 3 nominations each, making a master list of 12 and whittling that down to a top 5 movies with animals as leads list. Roar.
Meow.
Roar. Yeah. Good. That's another.
Kazoo.
Did you say kazoo?
Shazoo.
Shazoo? That's not even I've never seen that in a children's book.
Oh, okay.
You know, you have a children's book with like, what does the animal say? I've never seen Shazoo.
It's a European cow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One of those Scottish Highlands cows.
I don't know what kind of books you're showing your kid, Dan. But okay, my first nomination. Now, it's interesting because, Dan, you mentioned before, because you at first had live action only. And then I'm like, well, animated has to be part of this list because there's so many good animated movies with animals as leads. And then I was like, oh, well, when you put that in the equation, like in some arguments, you might say the animation ones run with it. They could overtake the list entirely, maybe with some other lists. My first one's kind of a blend where it's live action, but it's also animated, and arguably one of my favorite movies, like in general. It's so heartwarming. I'm going to nominate the series, the 2 movies that are out and a third that's coming. It is Paddington as my first nomination. Paddington the bear.
Great nom. Great nom. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's a charming little fucking bear. That's just...
Dudes, that movie is so fucking charming, and anyone who watches that movie and says, it's okay, fuck you. I don't.
Yeah.
You're
agree.
dead inside. You're dead inside. Mm-hmm. Paddington 2. What an amazing accomplishment of a movie. Like 10 out of 10. It's so good. Yeah. Have you watched Paddington, Dan?
No, I've heard the same thing. I've heard that they're really great movies, just haven't seen it. I know the character for sure, but just haven't seen the movie.
Dan, come on, man. It's a bear, wears human clothes,
cute little rain jacket,
has an English accent. And gets into like, I wouldn't say gets into trouble, but it's like very...
He gets into hijinks.
And like little things, little problems.
Little tussles.
But he has such a positive outlook in life that I'm just like, I love this guy. He's great. He's great.
He likes marmalade, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does.
That's what I remember.
We've been trying to do like more movie nights with our son who's like 4 years old, and one of the movies that was on the list was Paddington, and we put it on like, oh, he'll like it, and we'll kind of periodically watch while we're on our phones, and we were just like engaged in like all 3 of us, like just enthralled with this cute little bear. We haven't seen Paddington 2 yet, but
not only is Paddington an incredible character, but those movies as a whole are phenomenal movies.
Yeah.
Paddington's an institution, really. Like they're in the UK, like in London, like he's at the train station. You know what I mean? Like his statue.
He is a train station.
Yeah, that's right. You ride Paddington, you go inside of him. No,
that's another episode. Top 5 animals you want to be inside of.
Yeah. The inside of Paddington is just marmalade. It's really gross, but also
so
tasty.
Gooey.
But like Paddington has been in several commercials. When the Queen was alive, he did like a bit with the Queen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's like a very important figure, not just in movies, but like in like pop culture in the UK, which is, I think, really cool. But again, we're just ranking movies, not just Paddington. So let's go, Dan. What is your nomination that you just needed to be the first guest today?
I'm so sorry to cut you off, Dan. Before you even start, how fucking funny would it be, guys?
If it was Paddington, yeah.
Well, that would be funny, but if it was just a terrible nomination,
I mean,
like if we were just
I expect it to be terrible. It's coming from Dan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's like some sort
Mr.
of
Blue
weird
Shark.
nom from me. Yeah.
Blue shark gummies. What?
On that note, da 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 da. Do you hear it? It's Jaws.
Yes.
Jaws. Come on.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
Shannon.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
What a setup. Yeah.
I know
That's
that could be more perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did you have a suspicion?
Yeah, it was extremely on theme for you, Dan.
Yes. It's the most Godzilla nom I could do for this one. So I would say Jaws. First of all, it's such a great movie. Like all around, it's a great movie. What a great character Jaws is. I'm just going to refer to the shark as Jaws.
Or Bruce, if you want. Bruce the shark.
Sure. I'm going to say Jaws.
It's like not calling him by his real name, but okay.
Probably one of the only characters here with a like universally recognized theme tune, right? Even like my 2-year-old son knows the like da from Jaws.
Yeah. Although
probably
I would
because
argue
of Baby Shark.
that it's from Baby Shark. Yeah.
Baby Shark got it from Jaws.
Yeah, true. The movie is so good. It's like one of those movies I like recognize as being like a perfect movie, I would say.
Yeah.
It just has such unique fun characters. It's like 3 movies in one movie. That's so whenever I watch it, that's what it feels like. There's like the first part of it where it's like all the beach stuff and kind of more of the horror stuff at the beginning, I would say. And then like the middle portion where they're kind of doing more like research. and then like at the very end where they're like out on the water, like that whole ending for sure like feels like it's its own movie. Some like great lines in there, great performances, and then of course the shark, like they built this this crazy shark for the movie that was like malfunctioning because of the water, which forced them to not even really show it so much. So like this character that you don't even really see that much is so incredibly recognized and so scary, so that's why I nominated Just.
Great pick.
And I love that nomination because oftentimes you think of like the lead in a movie as like the hero, and he's absolutely the villain of the film. And I think it's such a great nomination for that reason.
Dan, what do you think about Jaws 2 and Jaws 3D and the other Jaws?
Yeah, it's followed up by like a bunch of like not as great movies. I've seen Jaws 2 in like from start to finish at least once, and I thought it was like okay, it was like decent still. It just kind of feels like the same thing again in a way, but it still had some of the the same characters. Yeah, definitely the first one. The first one's the one I've watched like a bazillion times.
Would you rather?
It's always like a summertime movie for me, like big time.
It's honestly a great movie. Now, my question to you is: would you rather be stuck on a desert island with Jaws the movie, or a bag of blue sharks like gummies?
Does the blue sharks, did they ever end?
What do you think?
Can I just keep eating them?
Forever.
Let's
give them forever.
Let's give them forever. Yeah, because and I will say the Jaws, the DVD that you have, also will never break. You can always keep watching it.
The more sharks that Dan has on the island, the less we have to deal with in our candy stores here in the real world. So
yeah.
Give him as many as he wants.
Dan's really thinking about this.
I am. See, if the island has like other stuff to eat, I'll just take that DVD because I want something to watch, entertain myself. Yeah.
Oh no, you don't get the DVD player or a TV.
Oh, you don't.
I just get the DVD.
But it's a sick DVD.
Have that.
It's the collector's edition DVD.
Yeah, you get a little statuette.
Although you could probably use it to start fires or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's go to the big dick Godly himself. Justin, what do you got as your first nomination?
I was concerned about this list because like there's a lot of iconic ones and a lot of the ones that I'm like really focused on, I'm sure people are going to nominate. So I want to get this one out of the way. And it's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Now you could, for me, you could kind of just say like the Planet of the Apes like trilogy, like we're talking in the new one, the Matt Reeves directed one.
Is that the first
one? Can we say that? I think like we could probably, maybe.
You could. It's because I don't care. It's your.
What are you thinking? Because like for mine I said Paddington, but really Paddington 2 is the preference. But like,
sure.
What do you think?
I'm inclined to say just the new Planet of the Apes trilogy because I think it took a dead franchise. Let's be honest. Like there was I think it was like 2002, 2001 Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie, which is not good, and it took this kind of like old tired franchise and not only like revitalized it but made it relevant and incredible. It's an incredible one. The first movie is incredible, but it's an entire trilogy of astounding movies, and it's one of the reasons why motion capture acting is considered real acting now, and it's because of Andy Serkis's performances as Caesar, the main ape is Caesar. And you very quickly while watching this movie, you forget that you're feeling emotion and you're empathizing and you're connecting with a computer generated monkey. Like it goes out the window 5 minutes into watching this movie and you're just part of this universe. And to me, that's a testament of the filmmaking and how Matt Reeves constructed that world and made that film series relevant again. So that's my nomination.
I honestly just did not care about Planet of the Apes, like the original ones, like ever.
No, me neither.
I just did not care. I thought that was kind of like a silly idea. I love the spoof on The Simpsons with Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. I can keep going, but I won't. But like that was the best Planet of the Apes thing I've ever seen was on The Simpsons. But the new Planet of the Apes was legitimately good movies, albeit like pretty long, but like the performance captures, like you said, Justin, and like the action that they're able to pull from it is really good. Are they doing another one? They're doing
I want to say like a limited series.
Oh, okay.
That's set like Caesar's not part of it or anything like that. Like it's set like a number of years after the trilogy, but I think they're trying to continue that universe because it's so well done and well made. And one of the things that also like just kind of thinking about it is that it's so earnest. Like you buy into it the moment you start watching this film. You forget that it's a movie about smart apes taking over the world, which that's a ludicrous notion for a movie, really. but you buy in. It's so sincere, it's so genuine that you're just along for the ride, and there's no tongue in cheek, there's no little winks and nods to the camera sort of thing. It's just no. This is the
They're
world
pretty
we're
serious
creating.
films too. There's not a lot of
They're very
comedy.
serious.
Yeah, it's
The first one has like a moment that is like one of those like jump off the couch moments for me. It's like one of those, I don't know, like there's not many movies that's like has like super memorable like scenes. I guess there's quite a few, but it is one of those movies that has one of those super memorable scenes for me. It's in the first one where Draco Malfoy. He's like he's in the cage
Tom
with him,
Felton,
right? And he has his arm up and he grabs it and he says no. Like that was a moment that I was like, what? Like, and I like jump, like, and I know that this is about like it's eventually going to turn into like talking apes and stuff, but I just kind of forgot that would happen in this movie, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I rewatched this trilogy this past winter, and I've seen the movie a handful of times, and that moment comes up, and you're still just like, oh shit! Like it still kind of impacts you a little bit seeing it a few times. So
the vocal performance on him saying that is like really good,
really impressive.
It's like really really impressive.
so weird that Draco Malfoy couldn't like cast a spell on Caesar or something to stop him. You know what I mean? It's just so fucking weird.
What a piece of shit
wasted
wizard.
talent.
What a bad movie. I'm just kidding. Let's move on to Shannon. Shannon, have we ever? I swear, I swear we've had like a nickname for you at one point. Not Big D
I doubt it.
Godly.
No.
Did we ever say Big V Godly at one point? I think
We should.
I mean, after 2 kids, you're not wrong.
I'm not going to call you that, but that is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, we can roll with it. Why not?
Shannon, what do you got?
So my first nomination here is one that's very near and dear to my heart. I owned this movie on VHS to the point that I wore the VHS out and I owned it, watched it on repeat. Like that DVD or that VHS no longer exists because of the love I gave it. And I think a testament to the character, the animal in this movie being the lead, is the fact that he stands out among an incredible cast of live action actors in this movie. We've got Matthew Lillard, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Linda Cardellini. That is, of course, Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
He is a fucking iconic dog. He's like the animated character in a live action movie. He doesn't talk, but he drives a film, and it's so fucking entertaining.
Kind of talks.
Well,
He
he's
goes-
like,
Yeah, like, Roro. Like, that's the extent of it. But like to drive a film and be such a lovable character when he was surrounded by a great supporting cast and has very limited dialogue in the movie, just fucking entertaining as all hell. And I think it was 2002 the movie was released. How great was the movie? Like the fact that he looked as good as he did animation wise.
Yeah, he should not have looked as good as he
He
did.
should not have looked that good. And I don't know, it was such a fun, entertaining movie that
But he looked not good enough that it made sense for a Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah,
And
like
that's a compliment.
it
Like,
was still
works.
part of the comedy and the charm of a cartoon comic brought to life.
Right.
Now,
cartoony enough. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. I remember, did they make 2 Scooby-Doo films with this cast? 2?
Yes. Yeah.
One of them scared me. I can't remember for like a little bit. There's like a spooky scene or something. There's always a spooky scene in Scooby-Doo and stuff like. But I remember when this movie came out, and I'm looking it up now on Rotten Tomatoes, that it was reviewed very poorly, 32%, and audience score 39%. I only bring this up because back in the day, the general audience, the adults at the time, did not like this movie. The audience didn't like this movie. But whatever happened in the last, I'm going to say 5 years or so, people have there's a renaissance for Scooby-Doo. People
I feel like
keep
it's like a
talking about
cult
it. Yeah.
classic, and I think it's because of people like me. Like 2002, I would have been in like grade 8 maybe, like that. It was the peak like moment for me where I think I got it for like a birthday present or something, and like that's what I did. Like I'd spend my weekends walking to the store to rent a movie, and like that was what I did with my weekends. So I think the resurgence makes sense because it's people like me that have this like fond nostalgia for it. And like to me, 38%, like that's bullshit. That there's no way that movie was 38% because it's 100% in my heart. So
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Tuong,
really
it's kind of like the same thing like the Star Wars prequels movies. Like
Yeah,
there's,
that
like
came
a
back.
younger audience that like grew up with them and they love them now, and they talk about how much they love them, how great they are. But like at the time, I guess critics and older audiences that were rating it didn't like it.
I also think that like Velma herself has become such a sexual icon and like awakening for a lot of like LGBTQ people as well. It's just
absolutely,
they just keep being like, remember Linda Cardellini? Like, look how rockin' she looked as Velma in this Scooby-Doo
an icon.
Yeah. Let's go into round two here. Round two. My goodness. Shit, there's a lot of movies here.
Yeah.
This seems like maybe a boring, I'm going to say it's a safe nomination, but it'd be insane if it wasn't even mentioned. I think that if I'm thinking about, best Disney films, let's go to the Disney era films. Listen to Disney Dummies on Podcavern here, but you would hear our opinions on a certain Disney film that has as an animal as lead. And I know there's tons of them out there, so that doesn't really narrow it down. But I'm talking about a little old movie with a certain king, a certain Lion King. It's the Lion King.
What movie is it? Oh, okay.
It's the Lion King.
I was very confused.
I can't do it. Anyways,
Try again.
I won't.
No, it's pretty good.
I
I
don't
enjoyed
know the lyrics, and
It sounded like it was played on the kazoo.
Yeah. I never took the time to memorize those lyrics, and I feel like I just don't want to. I don't want to step on any toes with
Yeah,
it.
no, that's
this is
valid.
safer.
You can do it in private.
I'll just do the melody version. It's the Lion King, everyone. I mean, yeah, like I said, I think it's a safe nomination, if anything. But at the same time, like if you really think about the Lion King and what it's done for like movies and Disney in general, and how popular the series was. I mean, like it got a live action movie, which was just okay. It wasn't that great, but like it made a shit ton of money. They're making a Mufasa prequel, for God's sake. What's that all about? But it is just one of those classic stories that has stood the test of time. Like when we were kids, we had the Lion King, but our children and the children after that, they will get the Lion King too. And it will tell an amazing, very tight story. It's like an hour and a half.
It breezes by. It's surprising.
And it has everything. It's a funny movie. It has incredible music. It has like incredibly heartbreaking moments with Mufasa.
Dark as shit moments.
Yeah. Great lessons. But again, like comedic relief with like Timon and Pumbaa and
Making fart jokes.
and like action, like the scene at the end where like Simba and Scar are just slapping the shit out of each other with fire around them in slow motion. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. Again, I think it's a safe one, but if you really stop to think about it, it's like, no, it makes sense. It's the fucking Lion King. What are we even talking about?
Someone had to make that nomination.
Yeah. This would be it would be crazy if it didn't at least get brought up.
Yeah.
And everyone's always got the complaint of it's a pretty standard story. It's a story that's been told numerous times and whatnot, but that makes it a good that makes it a good story. Like that's why you keep telling this story, and you make it relatable to all these different generations of people. Like we showed our son the intro to it, and he wanted to see it like 7 times in a row. Like that first 10 minutes of introduction to Africa and seeing all the animals and stuff. It's a incredibly powerful moment within 7 minutes or whatever.
And it's got an incredible soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Let me sing it for you. No, that intro.
It also made eating bugs look really good.
Oh, yeah.
Also that.
Yeah. Dan still eats bugs. He's eating bugs right now. That's Dan
like wriggling in my friend's teeth right now.
Yeah.
It showed us our sustainable future. Yeah.
It is one of the few soundtracks, specifically the intro, that gives me chills listening to it. It's just so powerful, and it's amazing. So Lion King. Dan, what do you got as your second nomination?
For my second nomination, this brotherly trio has made lots of different movies, but I'm going to say The Chipmunk Adventure.
Love it.
So this is an older one. Again, they've done some other like CG movies and stuff, but this is one I grew up with. I don't know if anyone else here had watched it before, but yeah. So like this is another one of those movies where it's like we watched this movie so much as a kid, like me and my sister. I'm pretty sure we had it taped off of YTV. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have the tape still somewhere in my house. But yeah, it's a great movie. For those of you who don't know this one as well, they're kind of like globe trotting. They're like going across the world in a hot air balloon, racing against the Chipettes. They think they're just dropping these things off to mark these different places they've been to. And turns out they're actually like inadvertently part of this like diamond smuggling ring. And it's got a lot of like, it's a kind of a grown-up story in a way, for kids, but it has like lots of like great singing in it, lots of great songs.
There's a
great
full
animation
soundtrack
for
to
sure.
this thing. There's a full soundtrack. To be clear for the audience, this is like Alvin and the Chipmunks, like
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's called the Chipmunk Adventure. I've actually never seen this. I've never seen this.
Oh, you got to see it. There are some things I think that by today's standards will seem a little bit more dated, kind of like stereotyping. Some of the
Alvin does
they
blackface at some point, and it's really not good. It is wrong.
But it's I don't know. It's a product of the times. But I still sing a lot of the songs from the movie like to this day. Like I even like sing some of them to like my wife Cheryl, who she doesn't know the songs from the movie. She's never seen it.
She
but
must love that.
She must love that. No, she does. She does. Yeah. But I don't know. That's my nomination. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a great nomination, and it's an interesting one because it's such a weird thing with Alvin and the Chipmunks because I know they're chipmunks, but they're kind of freaks because they're
demons bond. They're
barely chipmunks, if you know what I mean. Like they don't really look like chipmunks. They look like just Justin. How would you describe them?
Long teddy bears.
creatures from hell
that wear their initials on very long clothes of theirs,
branded into them.
And yeah, interesting. The Chipmunk Adventure, everyone. Justin, what do you have?
My second nom. This is the first movie that I wrote down when we determined that we're doing this topic, because it's the first animal movie that came to my mind, and it is a movie that if I were to watch it today, will still kind of emotionally wreck me in
Cats.
some ways.
It's fucking Cats. I know
it's Cats. It's not Cats, but I'm pretty sure we did watch it for a Cinema Saves the World.
I've seen it. We've seen it twice for Cinema Saves the World. I've seen it 3 times now.
Yeah, you should love yourself more.
Yeah. Butthole cut. Yeah. Continue.
It's Homeward Bound. The Homeward Bound, again, we're talking series, Homeward Bound series, because I think the second one's like Lost in San Francisco or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's actually a decent movie, but the first one is the one that is like, for me, I feel like it's one of those movies that when I think about like one of the first movies I ever saw, this is one of the contenders. Like I don't necessarily remember which one it was, but this is one of the first one. It's a catalyst for me loving golden retrievers and
Shadow. What a fucking boss!
Oh my god,
what a fucking king, man.
Legendary. I love the fact that it's like one of those old school voiceovers where it's basically just the voice actors are just narrating, like the lips aren't, which they shouldn't. It's late 80s, early 90s movie. Like you couldn't do that. You shouldn't do
real
that.
Animals, like
real animals. Well, but nowadays, if you would have that kind of movie, they would then like CGI the lips and shit, or like kind of make them move a little bit, and it's a detriment. It doesn't work as well.
Yeah,
like
they've never done it as good as Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound has like mastered it, and ever since then they've tried to do something. It's just not the same. It's not the same.
It doesn't work. I think there's a little bit in this for everybody. I think it's a really good, almost like coming of age movie to show a kid who's getting like a little bit older, and you start to deal with like kind of real life things, but like kid real life things. Like, oh yeah, the family is moving, and you have pets that you love, but one is kind of getting a little older, and you physically have lost this pet, and then the loss of a pet, and it deals with a lot of like really big themes in this essentially a kids movie, but it does it in such an accessible way that I think is such a great testament to it. Yeah, it's a really powerful film. Plus, it's just beautiful. Like it takes place in like the Rocky Mountains. Like they're going over like rivers and in forests and shit. And I think they meet a bear at one point. It's a fucking great movie.
It's good. Awesome. It's harrowing, really. It
really is.
Yeah.
And there's a point in that movie. There's a few points, but like near the end, like you truly believe that one of those animals is not making it. Like they sell you on the fact that what's that?
Old Yeller style.
Yeah, Old Yeller style. Like you really think like, oh shit, like Shadow's not coming back. Like they really sell it.
Spoilers, he does, and it's amazing
It's
when he does.
amazing. It's like one of those thrilling moments. It's one of the moments that Dan mentioned with Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Where like you're just like, yeah, fuck yes. Like it makes you feel so good after being so down for like 30 seconds. And
Do you happen to know what year this movie is from? Because I just think it's so funny to hear spoilers for a movie like this that's been around since our childhood.
I would hazard 91.
We
Oh, I
watched
was
this
gonna
for
say that
some-
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
would
it's
guess
Anyone
91.
on IMDb it?
Yeah, I think it's
would-
91.
I'm gonna say 91.
86 is my guess.
No,
No,
I
no,
think so.
no.
no, that's
That would
too-
be like Back to the
93.
Future era.
93.
Damn it.
93.
Okay.
Okay.
93.
Okay.
I was going 80s.
Same year as
for
Jurassic Park. Holy shit.
Um,
Man, 93 is a banger year for movies.
I just want to mention because they just don't do it anymore because you have to train dogs and you got to train a cat to do like certain things that they don't do the same voiceover that they do now. So they're going to do it the easy way through CGI and like all this other stuff. And it started bringing me down this loophole. And I'm pretty sure one of us or all of us have talked about this in the past, but I'll bring it up now about a movie that they use CGI to recreate dogs and stuff like that. And like, it doesn't give you the same effect that it does in like Homeward Bound. None of you guys are going to nominate this. I'll just do a shout out, quote unquote, a very light shout out. I'm not actually like recommending this movie to anyone. It's called Call of the Wild. It's with Harrison Ford. And
Oh, yeah.
it's
yeah.
when the fucking
yeah.
memes of that movie came out of the dog, which is just a dude in one of those suits. I just put it in the chat.
Oh yeah.
it's just the dog in that movie is just a dude in a suit, and the entire movie is like the relationship of this old man and his trusty dog, and they didn't even have a fucking dog on set.
That's amazing.
It's wild.
And you can tell when they do that shit. And I think, and again, Homeward Bound it's kind of like, I feel like it was one of the last ones where like you have this animal ensemble cast and it's done in that traditional quote unquote sense. And it works so well. You can still watch that, and sure, some of the stuff looks a little dated, but it works still. Like you could we could show that to our kids and they'd be like, oh yeah, this is good. Like I accept this film. Like this is great. So I don't know. That's pretty awesome for a movie that came out like 30 years ago.
Totally. Just
Mhm,
the
mhm.
one last picture that I sent in the chat is of the Call of the Wild dog. Very cute in the movie, I guess. The dog has a piece of like a letter in his mouth, but it's just they show the behind the scenes as a human with a letter in his mouth, and it completely
It's not even the same letter.
it's completely ruins
Yeah.
it. Stupid. Great
Oh my
nomination. Great nomination, Justin. Shannon, what do you have?
Well, I'm really happy that Justin brought up his love for golden retrievers because my next nomination heavily leans on the love that you have for the golden retriever in Air Bud.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, yeah.
That he is a circus dog who escapes a cruel master, and you're just cheering for him the whole time. Turns out this circus dog knows all the b-ball tricks and joins the high school basketball team to become the star of the show. And it is so lovable and it's charming. I don't know. I know there's a lot of like local to us Canadian actors, like the star Kevin Ziegler or whatever
Yeah.
went to high school nearby and stuff. Like, I don't know if it's known outside of Southern Ontario really, but I feel like Air Bud was a popular enough
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Oh,
It sparked
yeah.
it created
Yeah.
a franchise.
Yeah.
Like, it created a Air Bud, Air Puck, or whatever the fuck the hockey one. Like they had a lot of them.
Yeah, it was like
it's a
it was the
genre of
OG.
movies now.
Has
was
Air
the
Bud,
OG.
has he played any other sports as of late? Like any movies?
That dog is dead.
Yeah,
That dog is
that
dead.
dog is long
That-
dead.
Well, that
Sorry to tell you.
I'm sure they've replaced that dog in other movies throughout his career.
I
I'm-
think
they
he
did a
played every
soccer
sport.
one. Yeah, there's like a soccer or maybe a hockey one.
There was a hockey one, which is of course it's ridiculous, but it's more ridiculous than basketball to me.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
did a football one, Air Bud Golden Receiver.
That's
Oh,
honestly, that is an amazing
That's pretty
play
good.
on. Yeah, that's amazing.
Good
I would
pun.
buy a ticket just because someone made that joke.
and then the soccer one is Air Bud 3 World Pup.
Yep.
Oh,
Also-
okay.
also a
That's
good one.
doesn't sound quite as good, but I
I'm
see
seeing-
what
A baseball one, seventh inning fetch.
I'm looking at IMDb as well. This is amazing.
I think this one is maybe volleyball. Oh yeah, it's volleyball. Air Bud Spikes Back. And then you got Air Buddies, all the puppies. So there's,
yes,
there's a
yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but then it goes into a different. It stops being Air Bud. It starts
Yeah.
becoming Snow Buddies, Space Buddies. The
Space Buddies.
Search for Santa Paws, and they're not even the same. It's not Air Bud anymore. Those are just dog movies. Spooky buddies.
They lost their way.
To their
Treasure
credit,
buddies.
the human lead, Kevin Zegers or whatever, he was in the first 3 movies, which never happens in a like in a series like that. So I'm impressed.
Wow.
Are they good? No.
Sorry.
No, they're not.
Are
good,
they
but
movies? Yes.
They are movies, and they're fun. They're fun.
I remember us
love
watching Air Bud for Cinema Saves the World. I believe
Yes,
we watched,
did.
and I remember
And it was okay.
enjoying
It was okay. Yeah, that's
You
all right.
loved it.
Oh, yeah, you
I
were
liked
there,
it.
too.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it.
it's fun.
Let's see. Let's go into our final round of nominations. My goodness, there's a lot of nostalgia ones in here, which I really like, and it makes me want to like nominate one. But it's so tough because there's objectively better films with like animals as leads, but I don't know if I want to say those ones. I'm gonna go with this movie because I don't think it gets enough credit. There's like a few like Disney Pixar stuff that I feel like gets a lot of credit, and I don't want to do another one of those. So I'm gonna give one that's a little bit more still mainstream, but not one that's talked about enough. Who's played by our one of my favorite actors, everyone's favorite actor. That's not true, but a great guy, Jack Black, Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
We just watched this movie, actually.
Which one? The first one?
We watched the first
The
one
first
with our
2.
Oh, yeah, what's first 2? Yeah.
Dudes, Kung Fu Panda rocks.
They're
Yeah.
awesome.
So good.
All of them rocks. I cannot wait till they make another one. Like I think it's a movie that like when people watch it, they like it, but not a lot of the people who don't watch it are like, just another kids movie, whatever.
Yeah.
They just like dismiss it, and it's not. It's legitimately awesome. Jack Black is amazing in the movie, in the film. The whole cast is really fun, and if you like, I'm a sucker for martial arts in general in films and stuff like that. And the way that they just have these, it's a Kung Fu Panda. What else do you want?
It works on so many levels. It's ridiculous. You get, the overweight panda. He shouldn't be the Kung Fu master. And you've got this incredible voice cast. They're beautiful films too.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
animation, like
Gorgeous.
especially like the first one came out in like 2002 or 3 or something, like pretty
2008,
early.
it looks
Eight.
like.
Oh,
Yeah.
2008. Okay. Well, still pretty early.
Yeah.
Like and it still looks great. Like it looks awesome.
And they're all good. Like there's no dip in my opinion between Kung Fu Panda 1, 2, and 3. In fact, I think Kung Fu Panda 2's it rocks. It's like one of my favorite ones.
There were moments where we were watching that and I was just genuine moments where I'm like, whoa. I had to like not say holy shit in front of my kid.
I think he does. Dan, have you seen these movies?
Oh, I've seen the first 2 for sure.
He does like a Kamehameha in one of them. I forget which one it is. I think it's 2.
Really great character designs. Like I really enjoyed all the designs for all the characters, and great cast too as well. What came first, the Kung Fu Panda or the World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria? Were they just like rolling off of the success of Kung Fu Panda? I think they might have.
Yeah, they ripped off Jack Black and they owe him money for sure. There is a Kung Fu Panda 4 on its way in 2024, which will be, I'm pretty excited, honestly. It should be good.
I suddenly got a flashback that the first Kung Fu Panda movie was the last movie I saw at the theater with my mom. Like,
That's
I haven't got to a
hilarious.
movie with my mom since 2008. That's a pretty long time ago.
You pick it or did your mom pick it?
No, it was like a family night. Like, oh, let's all go see a movie, and it was so.
That's
probably the
adorable.
kids,
That's
probably
adorable.
like my stepbrother and sister, maybe.
It's a good movie to pick, honestly.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Great
Solid.
choice.
Great. Dan, what do you have as your third nomination?
Yeah, it's tough because there are lots of really good like Disney Pixar
Mhm.
movies to choose from. I'll bring some up in like some special shout outs later on. But the one I'm going to go with again, this topic for some reason really is like pulling at nostalgia for me, like a lot. I guess because like growing up, watched a lot of movies with animals as leads.
Mhm.
So I'm going to say one that if I don't say, and my sister had heard this podcast, she would like hunt me down, I think.
I hope you're saying the one that I was about to say because it's
Maybe.
nostalgia fueled. So I feel like it might be. What is
She'll
it?
be like really mad if I didn't say it. So I'm going to say it. Turner and Hooch.
No.
Turner and Hooch.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
Good
sorry,
pick.
Tom.
Good pick.
Good pick. Yeah.
It's like one of those movies. I watched it. I think the first time I watched it was camping at like my grandma's campground. It was like at like a neighbor's like trailer or something. So I always think back to that for some reason. But it's such a great like funny movie. It's such a great like Tom Hanks movie. Like if you like young Tom Hanks getting angry and shouting at people, like this is a great movie for that.
Love that.
My favorite genre of
Yeah.
film.
So
yeah,
good.
yeah. I like just such iconic scenes of like the dog. He's like trying to like bond with the dog, and then the dog will like do something crazy. Like I just remember there's one scene where he's like on the bed and he's like shaking all. He's like super wet or something. Like he shakes all of the water off of him, like just terrorizing. Like it's like an Odd Couple movie for those who haven't seen it, right?
Yeah.
But the dirty roommate is a dog. You know, it makes sense. So
They remade Turner and Hooch recently. I'm not sure how well it
I
did.
think they did. I think it was a TV show
With Josh
though.
Peck.
With Josh Peck, yeah. I don't know. I didn't check that one out.
I think I got canceled, so I don't think you need to.
Yeah, but yeah, it's such a fun movie. It's a little dark at times, like towards the ending of the movie. You know, spoilers. You know, for Shannon. I remember it gets to a point in the movie where I think Hooch ends up like saving Tom Hanks, but he dies in the process. But you find out that he's has puppies with this other dog that was like introduced in the movie. So it's like, oh, his lineage like lives on. I don't know. It's a great like kind of detective movie, if I remember correctly, and just the relationship that Tom Hanks's character has with the dog is really fun as well. So it's one of those great like early Tom Hanks movies. So I just have to say that one for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Justin Shannon, did you watch Turner and Hooch?
Yeah, I loved it as a kid.
I feel like I've seen it once when I was like a little bit younger, but I don't have any particular memories of it. But I do want to see it again. Like I remember thinking it was good. So
Also, young Tom Hanks, old Tom Hanks, good in anything.
that's true.
Tom Hanks is just amazing.
I would just say Tom Hanks may be too good for this nomination to carry forward because Hooch may not. Wait, Turner? Which one's the dog? Turner or Hooch? I don't
Hooch. I'm
remember.
pretty sure it's Hooch. I think
I don't
so.
know though. I
Turner
don't
sounds
know.
like the guy's character.
I was about to question myself on that though. Anyway, Tom Hanks he may be the star of the movie is all I'm about to say. So.
I see.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anyway,
Well, they're
carry on.
co-leads. They're co-leads.
Anyway, we'll argue later.
That's right. That's right. I was going to say, and it's hilarious that Laura just walked into the room because I was just like too busy like workshopping porn parody names of Turner and Hooch. And I was like, Turn Her and Cooch?
Cooch for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see. Laura doesn't approve. Okay, Justin, what do you have as your next nomination?
I feel like anytime Shannon and I are in the vicinity of Tuong, Laura just doesn't approve.
Yeah,
And she's right.
Just
She shouldn't.
She's right to write us off
Absolutely.
for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
As human beings.
That's why she's not on the
Yeah.
pod.
Absolutely. She'd be like, just shut up. Just
Well, she
be
came
quiet.
on once and we made blowjob jokes and she was not here for it.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
fine.
But she laughs at
I
it.
respect
She
that.
laughs at it in secret later, like in the car. And anytime she's watching, she listens to every episode of the show, which is insane.
That's a partner right
That's
there.
that's a wife right there. That's why I married her. She's my biggest fan. But I
Married a
have,
groupie.
I have heard her laugh at all the little jokes that we make. So as disgusted as she is while it's happening, she fucking loves it. And I know she's listening to this right now.
I love
Yeah.
it.
She is deep throating this shit right now. Yeah.
And so is the rest of our audience.
He loves it.
Justin, give your next nomination that our audience can deep throat.
The tongue lashing it deserves. I've got two more.
Oh,
I got two more possible options here, and I'm gonna go with one that's completely out of left field.
Oh.
But I genuinely believe that this is a good movie, and if you're a parent out there, you should definitely show your kids it because they're gonna love it. And there's a lot of good stuff in it for adults as well. And this is DC's League of Super Pets.
What?
It is so good.
It
What?
is
We not needed this.
way-
Dwayne the Rock Johnson?
It is way better than it has any right to be.
It's DC's best movie.
It is.
It's for sure the
It's
best,
the best
movie.
DC movie in the past 10 years.
Let me
How
ask
did
you
I not
something.
think of
Let me
this?
ask you something because you're both parents to, adorable kids and stuff like that. Did you like it because your kids liked it so much while you were watching?
So here's that I am sure played initially into it. I'm sure it did. I'm not jaded enough to think it didn't. But anybody out there with kids knows once they like a movie or a show, you're gonna watch it a lot. So I've seen this movie like 4 or 5 times now already. And there are moments in it where there's genuine humor for adults.
Directed adults.
towards the adults that are watching it because their kids have told them that I want to watch a movie and the adults have to be there. Like there's
a fair amount of adult humor.
Humor. It makes fun at all of the established, Justice League characters in very adult ways, not in like crude adult ways, but just in jokes that only adults are going to understand. That many moments throughout the film, I'm like, that's really funny. Like that's genuinely hilarious. And the stakes in the movie are ridiculous because it's a kids animated film about super pets, but the stakes are real and you buy into them, and it makes it. I feel like I've used this term like in all my nominations, but it makes it very accessible for kids as far as like understanding what stakes are and what sacrifice is and what lessons you need to learn to like be a hero, be a good person. The movie does that better than most superhero movies.
Mm-hmm. Dan, have you seen
it's genuinely really good.
No, I haven't seen it. I've seen like some little previews, so I know what it is, but no, I haven't watched it.
I would recommend it. I would recommend it to give it a shot. I don't care one way or another about The Rock. Whatever. I don't really care about most of the main voice cast in
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart's fine. He's fine.
Kate McKinnon, apparently. That's big get.
Hilarious.
Keanu Reeves.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Who is she? Who's she in that one?
Lulu? I don't know.
Natasha Lyonne is Lulu, and she's like the
Kate McKinnon's Lulu, and Natasha Lyonne is terrific.
The turtle.
Terrific. What's it? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's 2 instances where they bleep what the turtle says. Like because you have to, because he says fuck. Yeah. And it's like they bleep it in this kids movie, and the kids don't really understand what's going on because the turtle's fast. But the adults watching this film are like, that's really funny.
And it's great. Like all the animals have their like superhero like parallel. Like the turtle becomes like the Flash and stuff. Like it's really it is
so silly.
Some of DC's best writing.
Really
without
is.
a doubt.
What a okay. This was not
and
even on the radar. So
no, and it deals with like animal abandonment and friendship and animal adoption, like a lot of like kind of big themes. But it's like, it's a kids movie, so I can make
like people having to like surrender their pets and stuff for various like. It's heartbreaking. It's emotional. Like
oh my god,
it's a kids movie that fucking. Slaps.
It's good.
I'm intrigued.
Check it out.
I'm
really
intrigued. Now, I will say though, it's losing me points because I'm looking at this cast list, and of course, I said like Dwayne Rock Johnson, Kevin Hart, Kate McKinnon, whatever. But under Dwayne Johnson's credits, does he also play Black Adam in this movie? Because it says Black Adam here and Crypto the dog.
That might be like a post credits thing, but. I don't even know. I haven't watched the post credits, so
I was like Dwayne
He
Johnson.
did like a cheap tie into his movie.
That's what I'm saying.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Fucking guy who's tried so hard with Black Adam, he had to bring it into DC League of Super Pets.
That's so funny.
You just after the main scene, the credits start rolling. What the hell are you watching a post-credit scene in a kid's animated film for?
It's like a trailer for Black Adam after. Stop it. Shannon, bring us home with your final nomination.
My final nomination, we kind of get into monster territory a little bit, but at the core of everything, he's just a gorilla. It's King Kong.
Yes, Shannon.
Okay. All right.
So we're looking at 1933, 1976, and 2005 are sort of the ones that I was kind of looking at that I know, like you've got like, what is it, like Skull Island that has been much more recent and stuff like that. But like
you're talking
I was
about the
looking
older stuff?
I'm talking about the older stuff, like the stuff that I grew up. I mean, the first King Kong movie I ever watched was the 1933 black and white, and like I've watched like behind the movie documentaries of like the makings of and stuff like that. Like it's just such an iconic story, and he's just such an iconic character. And then you get like I don't know how many movies and TV shows and whatever comics and stuff have been spun off of this character.
A million.
But he's iconic for being this demonized gorilla, and
just a big fucking ape.
You can't argue with
big ape with a
the
big D.
icon that he is. Yes, absolutely.
Not as big as Justin's. Let's just be clear. Justin has a bigger D than King Kong. Let it be known.
The King Kong D.
Oh man.
But yeah, he's just like the stories have always been like they're ultimately about like just I don't know. It's everything about King Kong
About
is
love
just,
and rejection. Like
Yeah.
that's what those movies are about.
Yeah.
Love and rejection.
It just
Yeah.
like he just falls in love with a human, right? Like that's usually the core of it. He falls in love with a human, and also he's a kind of a terror as well.
He is, but then you also have like all of like and now we're getting into like the themes of the movie, which I know is not why we're here. But then
Right.
you have like all the supporting characters who some of them are in love with each other, but that it's unrequited love, and does that affect how they care about them when dangers comes and all this shit? It's like
Yeah,
That's
he's just
awesome.
he's sort of this misunderstood monster, but he's just a gorilla. He just happens to be 50 feet tall.
Is that it? Is he only 50 feet tall? He
I
must
think
be
so.
more.
I think that's
That doesn't
that's the
seem that big.
original.
I
I think
think
the
the
original is like
original.
50 feet. Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah.
yeah.
And now he's just like the size of a planet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And that's like I'm not talking where he's battling Godzilla or anything. Like I appreciate that those movies exist. I've never watched them,
I never
but like
watched them
the
either.
fact
Yeah.
the fact that
Pretty fun.
King Kong as a character has just like transcended universes and cinematic history is just like he's too iconic of a character not to nominate.
All right. So
Tuong, do you have any
King
qualms of it going into monster territory with that one?
Kong. No, I don't actually, because King Kong is a gorilla.
He's
So-
a gorilla.
okay.
I think
Okay.
he's a demonized.
He's a giant. He's a
gorilla.
giant.
You know what's
gorilla,
interesting?
though.
He is, but we have animated. Like we also have a panda who does kung fu as well.
Fair
so
enough.
That's true.
I,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would have drew the
Okay.
line at Godzilla.
I wasn't sure where you would
Yeah.
be drawing the line. with
Godzilla
it.
would have
Yeah.
been the line
Yeah.
because Godzilla,
Yeah.
lizard,
He's
whatever. But he's
an
not,
iguana,
He's
but-
not really. He's
Mhm.
that's a monster. That's a
Okay.
monster.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's.
I'm
go
here for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and take a break. And when we're back, we're going to rank top 5 movies with animals as leads. We'll be back. Hi, everyone. I'm Tuong.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Laura.
And we are
Disney Dummies.
Look, we know there are Disney superfans out there, but even the superest of fans could still be Disney dummies.
That's why the three of us are on a quest to watch every single animated theatrical release in chronological order, from Snow White all the way to whatever's out right now.
We dive into each movie in detail, talking about fun facts, talking about the animation, hit you with some hot takes, our favorite reviews on the internet.
We even talk about who fucks.
I still can't believe that's an actual segment.
So join us every second Wednesday for another episode of Disney Dummies.
And Pixar pals when we finally catch up.
Yeah.
Brought to you by the fairy tale whimsical depths of the pod cavern.
Top five.
Move over, everyone. We are back and ready to rank our list that we just nominated in the first half here. My goodness, we have a list for you all at home.
It is a whale of a list.
And we all know what whales sound like, right, Dan? That's just another cow. What?
The whale,
Dan's,
the cow of the sea.
Dan's whale is Shazoo. All right, so our list of 12 is Paddington, Jaws, The Rise of the Planet of the Apes trilogy, Scooby-Doo, Lion King, Chipmunk Adventure, Homeward Bound, Air Bud, Kung Fu Panda, Turner and Hooch, DC League of Super Pets, and King Kong. Good list.
I like it.
Good list. Solid
Great
list.
Well done,
list.
everybody.
I will, it's so tough because, like, honestly, for me personally, I could have filled this entire list with animated movies, and a lot of them could have been Pixar Disney films. But
Yeah.
those things have been shouted out so many times before that I think it's more important that we shout out like the kind of the underdogs here and there, you know?
I would agree. I think it would be just kind of like a dull, like tired list if we were all just doing Disney and Pixar movies, honestly.
That said, I am so happy that Lion King is up on
Yeah.
the nominations. It's one of those that I feel like had to be there, and I'm happy it is.
Me too. And I think it represents that list that could have been, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I think it's allowed to be on both, but out of all the other ones out there that I could have nominated, I feel like Lion King's like, yeah, all right. It's
the
still
one.
Lion
Yeah.
King. It's the fucking Lion King.
It's the fucking Lion King.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and star nominations for further consideration. We'll go Justin. Star one that isn't one of your own.
I gotta start Jaws. Yeah.
Yep.
Jaws. Dan is so happy.
Yeah.
Very happy. Yeah.
And it's, Justin, to be
It's a good
clear,
nom.
is starring Jaws the movie, not those dumb, fucking, disgusting
No.
candy that you have.
No. I mean, who the fuck actually eats those? Like,
Disgusting.
it's all just
They're
we're all
so
just
good.
joking.
So good.
I don't-
Marshmallowy goodness. Oh,
Barf.
yeah.
Can you rescind stars?
No, please don't.
Shannon, you want to star one that isn't one of your own?
I very much do. I'd like to star Paddington. That you actually stole my second nomination by
Oh.
nominating Paddington. That just a phenomenal fucking movie. And you had me scrambling because I was like, no one's gonna nominate Paddington.
I love Paddington. So you guys
yeah.
never seen Paddington 2? Both of you? Not yet?
We've not seen it.
Not
No,
yet.
not yet. We're holding out for a 4-year-old movie night some night coming soon.
That is just incredible that you haven't even seen the best one yet, even though there's two.
But we've seen the first one like a dozen
Yeah,
times.
the first one's
so-
amazing, but the second one, my goodness.
Yeah.
Dan, star one that isn't one of your own.
I'm gonna go with Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the first ones that I thought of when we were talking about this. Yeah, watched that a ton when I was a kid. Justin, do you happen to remember like the voice actor for Shadow or anyone? Was it like they were all like big big
Were they?
names?
Were they
Yeah,
big
Michael
names?
J. Fox
You-
was Chance.
I don't think Shadow was actually like. I mean, he might have been a big name actor for like.
I think it was like an
Adults
old
at the time?
Hollywood
Dawn
actor.
Mesh. Dawn
See, I've never.
Mesh.
Okay, never mind.
He has done movies, famous movies such as, I'm not sure if they're famous. They could be. Sorry, old people. Cocoon,
Oh yeah, Cocoon.
Oh, okay.
Trading Places,
What?
Oh.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Cocoon the Return,
Okay, yeah.
Oh, more cocoons.
Heaven Can Wait. That's sad.
Okay, yeah.
That one.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
You-
Actually, Harry and the Hendersons would have been one of my nominations.
So
honestly, this
Could
is
have gotten away with.
this is
top five movies with
mind-boggling. I say,
geological entities.
listen, old people, and all these people in the room are like,
Oh,
I know
every
this.
single one, we're like,
I
oh my
know
God,
this
yeah.
movie. I know
So-
this movie.
Knowing all those movies, those are mid to late 80s, early 90s movies, so it makes sense that he was cast.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Homeward Bound.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie so much. Yeah, it was fond memories watching. I don't have like strong like scenes that jump out, but like, I remember enjoying it so much. I would
Well,
start that
for
one.
me, it's like literally when Shadow's in the fucking pit and his leg hurts, and you're like, oh my God, he's not going to make it. And then he comes back at the end, and you're like, yeah! Oh my God! Jason!
Oh yeah, he like is like coming up over the hill, right? Like they see the first two animals, and
Yeah.
then like you're waiting or something.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that what happened?
Here, let
Yeah.
me reenact it for you.
Yeah.
Peter. He's just saying Peter.
Pretty good, actually. Pretty good.
He's like, Peter, I love you. Peter. Sounds like he's having an orgasm, but I swear the actor did a much better
Yeah,
job.
you and I watched very different movies.
Yeah. You said Homeward Bound, right? I'm thinking of
Horny Bound.
Homeward Bondage. I don't know. And for myself, I'm gonna star Air Bud because I think it represents this. I don't know if we're talking about like nostalgia and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
it
sure.
represents that like level of I don't know. It's silly. Like the movies with animals as leads. Yeah, we could think of all those like Pixar, Disney animated ones and those really good ones, but like back in the day, they had real animals. I'm not saying they
And
did.
they're silly.
They're silly.
A dog
but-
had to be trained to do basketball tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That
was a talented dog.
Not all the tricks, but a lot of the tricks. And I think that's fucking cool. So,
Except all the cuts where they show the dog with the ball and then they cut away and
Yeah.
show it going in the hoop.
yeah, I don't think that dog got one basket ever, but
Not one.
pretty fucking cool.
I'm gonna
Bounce
say
it
it.
off his nose though.
I'm gonna say it, that dog fucking sucked at basketball. Sucked at it.
He did, but he looked good in a jersey.
He
Paddington.
was such a good boy.
Yeah, that's what I care about. Paddington, Jaws, Homeward Bound, and Air Bud. Those are our 4 movies that are starred. I'll open it up to the floor. Anything else that you guys want to star?
I think we got to star Lion King.
I think we gotta
Yeah.
talk about it. We do.
Yeah.
Okay, it's cool. What else do we have to star?
I know it's my own, but I really think we need to talk about Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Cool. I'm down to tell you that. I like that. Dan, anything?
I would also say Scooby-Doo. Yeah. I would say Scooby-Doo as well. Yeah. Like, even though, like, I'll be honest, I've actually never seen those Scooby-Doo movies, but like, I've seen so many other Scooby-Doo movies. So I love that character. So yeah.
But the movies that are being nominated for under this Scooby-Doo umbrella is the Freddie Prinze
Is
Jr.
those ones?
Yeah.
Okay. To be fair then. Okay. I'll still say it. Why not?
I'm backing Scooby-Doo.
I'll back it. I still want to back it.
An incredible movie. 33% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Great cast. It's got
39
great
audience score.
Awesome. I'll take it.
Here are the movies that aren't starred: Kung Fu Panda, Chipmunk Adventure, Turner and Hooch, DC League of Super Pets, and King Kong.
I do kind of have a soft spot for King Kong, though I feel like it's not going to go anywhere, but I was close to nominating King Kong too. I have such an affinity for that character and those movies and the love that people have for those movies, but I just don't.
Do you have more to say about it? I mean, I also like King Kong. I don't love King Kong, but I like King Kong. I know he's been around for a long time. I haven't seen those new movies, so I couldn't really speak to that either.
I think, and this isn't necessarily a reason to keep the movie on the list, but I think it deserves to be said, is the original one came out yet like 1933 or 33 or something. And it's almost the template for those, like, I know he's a big ape, but it's almost a template for those monster movies. Like, it is almost a template for Jaws. Like, I don't think if King Kong didn't come out, I don't know if you'd have Jaws. And again, that's not a reason to put it on the list. I'm just saying I think it deserves its due to be mentioned. You know, if we're starring a Jaws, a movie that we all seem to kind of have a pretty strong response to, I don't think you can talk about Jaws without at least acknowledging King Kong.
I just think there's such longevity to the history of that character, and that I don't know. I just wanted this moment for King Kong. We don't have to star it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted it to have its moment in the light.
That's fair enough.
I really like the Peter Jackson one. Like, that's the one I've seen the most.
Yeah.
I saw it in the theater. I love that movie. I
think that movie that movie does not get enough credit.
Was that
honestly.
not the 2005 one?
Yes.
That's 2005.
That was
Black?
like
Okay.
a 3-hour movie. Yeah.
Tuong, you'll be interested in this as well. That movie has probably one of the only like movie to video games that like actually is a really good game.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, on PS2.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I
It's a
remember
great
watching
game.
the movie.
It's really good.
I remember watching the movie back in the day, but I only saw it once in theaters. I don't remember anything about it. I remember Jack Black was in it.
Yeah,
it's
Jack
good.
Black,
It's a good like wintertime movie where like you're just like it's Sunday, it's snowy, you don't want to go anywhere, and you don't have anything to do. Like, put it on because you can just kind of get cozy. You can pause it when you need to. Like, it's a good that kind of movie. Yeah.
Justin, do you remember the ridiculous scene where it's like they're typing on the typewriter like skull? It's like each key. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But it's
too
great.
much.
It's so good.
I'd like to jump in for the sake of Dan's family's nostalgia with Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
But okay, do you remember, Shannon? You'll remember this. Was it Dan? Yeah, it was Dan. Yeah, remember when Dan had this full memory on the brunch menu item of what was it? What was it for brunch?
The Phoenix buns?
No.
The Huevos Rancheros.
Huevos Rancheros.
Oh, yeah.
Huevos Rancheros was, by the way, since that episode, I also ordered that. It's amazing. It's so
amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
It's so good. But Dan had a full memory with Huevos Rancheros, and then later told us that was like it was the wrong thing.
It was close. It was Nachos Rancheros.
So I'm only bringing that up because I'm like, did Dan's family watch Kung Fu Panda, or what?
They watched the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
It was the Karate Kid. It was
it was three ninjas. That's what
we could star Kung Fu Panda for now, for sure.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Great fucking movie.
Great movie.
It's so good. All right, the ones that aren't starred: Chipmunk Adventure, Turner and Hooch, DC League of Super Pets, and King Kong. Are we okay with that?
I think so. I'm happy that I got to mention League of Super Pets. I understand it not getting on here, but
had the two of you seen the movie, I think it would have gone further. But we can't make arguments if you've never seen it.
I would argue if you'd seen it, we'd at least talk about it more. But I get it. I understand. So we'll move past it.
Yeah, and two of mine are like were just totally nostalgia fueled that I just like had to say them. I knew that they wouldn't have as like broader appeal, but I just like had to say it.
Of course, you have to.
I'm going to read the list and then I'll read it again and we'll do locks. So the list is Paddington, Lion King, Kung Fu Panda, Jaws, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Homeward Bound, Scooby-Doo, Air Bud. That's a lot. So let's do locks here. Paddington. So first of all, I'll explain it for the people at home. We're going to go ahead and do locks. So I'll read the list again. All of us will say if it's a lock or not. It's a gut reaction if it belongs on the top 5. If anyone wavers or does like, then we just skip.
Can you do that sound again? I really like it.
That one. You like that?
That's really good.
And I'll send you a
Where
recording.
your hands
later.
were, that was really good.
Thank you.
You know the grunting he was talking about earlier would actually be that sound.
Yeah. No comment. So I'll read the list again, and if anyone wavers on the lock or not, then we just move on to the next one, and just to wait for us to navigate through this list. Paddington, is it a lock or no lock? It's a lock for me.
I think only because Dan hasn't seen it. Like I think it's hard. It's hard to lock it when we're not all in on it.
Keep going. Lion King, lock or no lock?
That's a lock.
That's a lock.
I think we got a lock. Yeah.
To me, that's like it could be like the number 5 if we don't want to be boring, but we still want to represent the spirit of the category.
Yeah. Let's do that. I think I'd have a hard time with it being higher than 5, but let's lock it. That's good.
Kung Fu Panda, or what Dan likes to call the Karate Kid. I like this movie quite a lot, but you know, I nominated it in a sea of other movies that I could have also nominated and replaced it. So
I would not be mad if this was locked, but I would like to we could table it for further discussion.
Yeah, I'm in the same place too.
Yeah, let's do that. Jaws. I'm okay with locking that.
Yes.
Lock. That's a lock.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the Matt Reeves one. Lock or no lock?
This for me is a lock. Again, it's my nomination. But I don't know if this is a loud tongue, but if this one or Homeward Bound is going to get locked, I'm going to probably overrule for Homeward Bound. But
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be either or.
Okay, I'm locking this one then. That's what I'm doing.
I could do it. No one else though. Homeward.
It's like in the same place as like a table for me.
Yeah.
I really like it.
They're great movies. Yeah.
Homeward Bound. Lock or no lock?
Lock.
That's a lock. Yeah.
Hey, Ta.
I got everybody over the edge, as it were.
You should watch the scene
Lois
at the
Griffin
end.
slow down a little bit.
He just hey Ta. He's just so happy. Shut up. Scooby-Doo, lock or no lock?
Lock.
Not for me. Not
That's
for me. I mean, Velma's definitely for me, but Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, come on.
Lock her up.
There's that.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Like consensually.
Okay.
She's into it. Yeah,
I know why Shannon likes it so much, because for a kid's movie, it's incredibly horny.
It's a sexual awakening. Yes.
Well, and I'm not saying that to be like tongue in cheeky. Like, I'm not saying that to just be regular tongue horny, or like it's an actually. Like they do a thing where they like switch bodies, and like one of them's just like, hey, I can stare at my boobs now. And like they're just all about that, and like they're touching their junk and be like, oh my God, I gotta take, you know, like that kind of thing.
They acknowledge that that's what we would all do.
Yeah, exactly. If I switch bodies with Justin, I would for sure just be staring and stroking that big D that entire time. That trombone of a dick. Let's go to Air Bud.
The tromboner, if you will.
Very good.
Air Bud, lock or no lock?
I'd lock it, honestly.
I
really would.
I kind of love it.
I like it. I like it for the reasons you said, Tongue, earlier, where it's like it's almost like the template for those, like, for silly animal movies, but like
locking it too.
It works.
It
shouldn't work, but it does.
So the thing that I was gonna say, Shannon, after you said Air Bud, was Beethoven. Those movies, those bring me back to an era of my childhood and our childhood, I would say. And maybe it doesn't hit for like people that are older than us or younger than us, whatever. But in our time, Air Bud and Beethoven were the fucking bomb. And it was like you're seeing a real dog in a movie that could play a piano, or it could fucking like, play basketball and volleyball and all these things. And it was amazing because they're real dogs. And I love that era. Like I just made fun of Call of the Wild. They just don't make them like they used to. They just don't. So I think Air Bud was like one of the final pillars of that,
Totally agree. Yeah, no, I'm happy to lock it.
Dan?
Yeah, let's lock it. Yeah, it definitely fits on this list for sure.
Cool. So what we have locked.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Just as another argument for it, I feel like we'd all be lying to ourselves if we said, okay, we're doing this topic, and all of us didn't think of Air Bud within 10 seconds.
For sure.
Like,
yeah.
We all did, no matter what.
Yeah.
We all did. So that's a testament to it. So
100%.
Anyway.
100%. We have Lion King, Jaws, Homeward Bound, and Air Bud locked. Holy shit. We just need one more locked and we're good to go. Of course, the locks are non-binding. We can switch things up if we really want to. I'll read the ones that are starred but not locked. Paddington, Kung Fu Panda, Planet of the Apes, and Scooby-Doo. Dan, where's out of all the ones that I just listed, where's your head at?
I'm leaning more towards, I think, Kung Fu Panda, actually, out of all those. I think, yeah.
Because your family watched it, maybe.
Yeah, because we maybe watched it that one time.
They maybe watched it,
yeah.
Dan wasn't there, actually.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Yeah,
We heard about it.
Yeah, they told me. Yeah, I'm just I'm thinking like which one would I don't know actually. Yeah, it's hard. It's really, I think Kung Fu Panda though.
That's fair.
I really love the character designs. Great cast for all the characters too. They're fun. It's kind of a Dragon Ball like energy to them as well.
Totally. And it's like it tells also good lessons. I think it's very kid friendly and it's
has
a
like
movie.
an adoptive parent
Yeah.
storyline going on to it as well. Like I like all that. Yeah.
Arguably one of DreamWorks' best, honestly. Like Kung Fu like they have a lot of good movies, but I think Kung Fu Panda is up there.
Which one, like out of the Kung Fu Panda movies, which was the one with the villain where it's like the big like tiger? I just remember him like running through
that's
some
number
temple
one.
or
One?
something.
Is that not one?
That's one.
One?
That's
Is that
one.
one or two?
Number two is the peacock voiced by Gary Oldman.
Yeah, and that's the one with the Dragon
and
Ball
that's
Kamehameha
pretty-
finish. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going back to that scene of it like that, like I don't know. I guess it's the first one. Then yeah.
It's good. Shannon, where's your head at out of all the things that I've listed here? Is something that, that you really think?
Paddington to me, I think as a secondary, it would be Kung Fu Panda, but Paddington to me it kind of reigns supreme in this one.
Justin, what do you think?
It's probably either Apes or Paddington, and my reasoning. Kung Fu Panda is amazing. Like everything you guys all just said, I 100% agree with. I think where my mind is going to is just this is a really good movie sort of thing, and I feel like I get more film enjoyment out of Paddington and or the Planet of the Apes. I think overall, like from a technical standpoint, from a character standpoint, and again, I don't need to keep saying this, but Kung Fu Panda is fucking incredible, and it does have all those really great those strengths as well. But I feel like Paddington or Planet of the Apes is just a little bit higher for me personally.
This is I love that you said that. I nominated Kung Fu Panda. I love Kung Fu Panda. Fucking great movies. Really is. Paddington transcends all of that shit. Paddington is just a wholesome experience, unlike any other, that is just family friendly without being gross. It doesn't have to bend to this social norm of what jokes should be and what I don't know, it just does its own thing and it exists.
It shouldn't work.
And it just does, and it's
charming without pandering.
That's the word, pandering. It doesn't pander. It just is, and it's better for it.
It's a shame you haven't seen it, Dan, purely because I feel it's a shame because one, you just haven't seen it, and two, I feel like this would be a much shorter conversation. If you had seen Paddington, I feel like, again, as great as these other movies have been, I feel like you would be like, oh yeah, it's got to be Paddington.
I gotta fucking watch Paddington.
You should. And also, I'm pretty sure that your family watched Paddington instead of Kung Fu Panda.
It was a bear. Yeah.
There's some sort of bear. The thing is that I would also, again, I just said how much I love Kung Fu Panda. I would also throw my hat into also Planet of the Apes, in the way that I think if we're thinking about a technical Marvel in a way, I think Rise of the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the new one, is it's incredible. I've only actually seen those movies once each. Maybe the first one I saw 2 times or something, but I always had a good time, and I always was blown away at the technology of motion capture. And of course, the story is really good and all that stuff as well. But I think there's something to be said about just really good, just technical animal shit going on in the Matt Reeves stuff. And I mean, if it was up to me, like I might pit Homeward Bound and Air Bud together in the way that like they both fill the nostalgia train for me. One of those two does. I mean, they can both certainly be on the list. That's completely fine. Ultimately, I wouldn't really care. But like, if I had to nitpick, maybe I would take one of those two out to put Planet of the Apes and Paddington onto the list.
I was actually going to make a similar argument that I think Planet of the Apes is such a technically good movie that what they've done to create these animals in the movie, and Caesar is an undeniably captivating lead as an animal in that movie, that it would almost be a detriment to this list not to have it on there in the top 5.
Yeah. Dan, what are you thinking here?
So are we saying between Paddington and Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
I think
pitting those two together?
Or potentially arguing that Homeward Bound and or Air Bud could be up for discussion as well.
Yeah. I'm comfortable keeping one of those two for sure. If I had to pick, I don't know. Right now, I would say Air Bud because I just love the idea of a fucking dog in a basketball jersey fucking shooting hoops. But I mean, I also grew up with the Homeward Bound movies and I also love them to death. So I don't know.
I wonder if that's kind of playing too much into our, and it's us four making this list, so fuck it. But I wonder if that's playing the nostalgia aspect of Homeward Bound is playing almost too much into it, where the iconicness of Air Bud, which is that's maybe one of the dumbest sentences I've ever said in my life. But it really is. Like, it is the template for those really dumb, this movie shouldn't work, but it's kind of charming thing. It ended with Air Bud, but it also kind of it started this franchise. Yeah. I think more people are honestly familiar and appreciate Air Bud more than Homeward Bound.
Those dogs are in space now.
Exactly.
and I just want to call back to something that you said about like the ensemble of like the Homeward Bound like cast, the real life animals, and how it was like sort of the start of what that was. But in 1986, we had the real life cast of Milo and Otis.
Let's not talk about Milo and Otis because there's a lot of animal abuse in that.
Yeah,
so
I'm just saying, as far as a real life animal cast, ensemble cast goes, it had been done at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. That's true.
But then for me, it also goes into like an argument of like iconic quality versus like actual movie quality. And I would definitely lean Homeward Bound over Air Bud.
That's true.
Like,
I did make that argument for like Planet of the Apes too. It was like, yeah, I'm going for technical.
Yeah, and now we're going back to Dan's point of like, are we ranking it based on if the movie's good or if we like the animals better? All of that is coming into play right now. So
yeah,
I don't.
It's been a long time since I've seen either of those movies. I've probably seen just the first Air Bud, and it was a long, long time ago now. It was like probably right around the time I didn't see it at the theater or anything, but like right when it came to home video.
You didn't see it with your family at the theater?
No, I didn't. No. But
that you remember.
That I remember, yeah. But and Homeward Bound even further back, kind of the same thing on like VHS. But like in my memory of these things, it's like there's a cheapness to Air Bud, whereas there's like a more of like a honing like a quality family film like Homeward Bound.
Okay, so what I'm hearing here is I feel like Paddington's going to make the list. I feel very strongly that Paddington should make the list. I would actually stomp my feet on the ground to fight for it because it's just so fucking good. But then it becomes the conversation of here. If I were to lock Paddington right now, we technically have 5, but there's an argument that Planet of the Apes might get in there. Paddington, Lion King, Jaws, Homeward Bound, and Air Bud, that's 5. But it does seem like it's missing a Planet of the Apes like in this list. So
I would argue get rid of Air Bud.
Okay.
Really? Oh.
Wait, you would argue it, but what's the argument?
No, I'd just argue it. No, no, I think if I think back to my childhood, like which movie made a bigger impact on me? It is Homeward Bound. It's this movie filled with like hope and terror and what ifs, and it just pulls at the heartstrings a little bit more. Like, is Air Bud really fucking cool and a really cute dog? Yeah. but I don't think it has the same lasting presence in your heart. Yeah.
Oh, in your heart.
You're probably right. I mean, I think I do like Air Bud on a superficial level. Like, I mean, like we watched Air Bud not that long ago, a few years ago, Justin and I.
Yeah.
But if I like even that day when we're like talking about what movie we liked better, it probably would have been Homeward Bound. Yeah.
Oh, it was Homeward Bound.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for me personally.
Yeah. We didn't really talk about Chance and Sally, like of the group here. Like, arguably the more fun characters than Shadow. Shadow has like an awesome moment at the end, Peta, but like, but the other two are the other two like really round out that cast. Okay, yeah, I'm comfortable taking out Air Bud, putting in Planet of the Apes, and keeping Homeward Bound. What does everyone else say about that?
Oh, I feel sad that we're losing Air Bud, but I
You won back your nomination though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm
You
here.
sacrificed a golden retriever for your nomination.
Yeah, for another golden retriever. You're not that fucking
for
holier than
3
thou.
animals actually.
Yeah, yeah.
A dog died for your ape, all right?
Dan, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah, it's nice to have a movie like Planet of the Apes represented here as well. Kind of like feels like, again, I like it's kind of like a King Kong kind of like nomination. Like if I'm thinking of like the Peter Jackson one, something that represents
Like a
that
gritty
type of animation
animal
a little
movie.
more gritty.
Yeah, a little bit more mature.
I think it also kind of does a very similar thing for that kind of stuff that The Lion King is doing. Like The Lion King for me is encompassing a lot of those, like the Disney Pixar stuff where it is the one at which all of the other ones are kind of measured upon. Like you don't get Ratatouille without Lion King. You don't get Zootopia without Lion King. Like all of those ones that we possibly could nominate, it's all going to come back to Lion King. And I think for that technical element, something like a Planet of the Apes, I think kind of does that same thing.
I would say like a distinction there too. It's not just that it wouldn't be this without Lion King or this one without Lion King. In that case, those are great movies as well. But it's like none of them, in my mind at least, stood out any more than Lion King would as well.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, I think we have our list, or at least our top 5 here. We have Paddington, Lion King, Jaws, Planet of the Apes, and Homeward Bound. That is our 5. I think we already agreed that number 5 would be Lion King.
Yeah.
We want to do that, keep it like that. I think so too. I mean, like, it's a hard one because, like, I think objectively, maybe it's not objectively, heavily subjectively, but I think Lion King could easily be number 1 on this list. You know what I mean? Like, it's just classically.
It doesn't have to be.
But it doesn't have to be for our list, is what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, I love The Lion King. Don't get me wrong. One of my favorite Disney movies ever. But, I mean, I've talked about The Lion King so much over the last however many episodes of podcasts that I've done in the past that it's time for another thing to shine. So, Lion King at number 5 is fine. What do we think of number 4?
I was going to say probably Planet of the Apes. And I say that because it was a discussion to get it there. I think to put it a little higher is a detriment to the other ones that we had kind of locked in previously.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. Planet of the Apes is number 4. Now we're getting into it. So here, Dan, you might not agree with me. I think Jaws is number 3.
I would wholeheartedly disagree.
I was going to disagree as well.
Dan started the theme music there. Did you hear that?
Okay, here's
Dan is sending the shark after us.
The only reason I was going to put Jaws at number 3 and at most number 2 for me, anyways, is because like Lion King, Jaws has been talked to death on this podcast, on this show, on many other episodes, and has been shouted out a zillion times. If I'm putting Lion King at number 5, I don't need Jaws at number 1 because we've already talked about Jaws a million times on this show. That's where I'm coming from, but I'm happy to hear the argument. I mean, ultimately, maybe I should be thinking about this show in a vacuum and I shouldn't be like thinking about all the other episodes that we've done on this show. But if that's the case, then Lion King is higher. So it's just a weird little distinction for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's valid. That's valid.
And I would actually still be okay with putting Lion King a little bit higher, like a number 4, to be honest with you. But that's a whole other thing. But
okay, so what's number 3 for you guys? We'll start there and then we'll figure it out.
Number 3.
No one's like, I don't know. Um,
And I should say, I really like Jaws. I love Jaws. But again, look back at other episodes we've done on this show. We've talked about Jaws many times. So
I think number 3 for me would be Homeward Bound.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty good. Yeah.
I'm okay with
Okay.
that.
yeah, I can see that. And then we're talking Paddington and Jaws for
Yeah.
2 and 1 here.
And I will say
That old combo.
Yeah.
That old classic
Sorry.
combo.
I would have put Jaws as my number 1.
I probably would have as well. And I know you just made an excellent argument why, like, for this particular episode we shouldn't, for the using the Lion King stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like, if we put that aside, because that is my own feeling as someone who has done all these episodes and stuff like that, I don't want to make that the main reason why we don't put Jaws at number 1, right? But if I'm objectively, or if my thoughts actually putting them side by side, I do think Paddington is just a better movie, both of them.
So my argument, I mean, I think I'm going to draw parallels right now between Jaws and The Lion King as to why you wouldn't necessarily compare them. That The Lion King, while you do have Simba as sort of that main hero, that main character, the reason The Lion King is so great is because of its like ensemble cast. The Lion King is not what it is without Timon and Pumbaa, and it's not what it is without Rafiki. Where Jaws hinges on this fucking shark.
Yeah.
It's the only one of these characters that has its own recognizable theme song. It has stood the test of time as this fear. People have been afraid of sharks because of what Jaws instilled.
Great white sharks still get a bad rap
They
because
still get a
of
bad
this
rap.
movie.
That it has.
Has Jaws done a commercial with the Queen? I don't think so.
And I don't think it's ever eaten marmalade either.
It also like inadvertently like set a standard for like how horror movies are done, where it's like you don't see the thing and it makes it more scary, right?
Yes. I agree, and to be honest with you, I also have heard these arguments before on this show. So it's one of those things where like I totally get it. And if we're leaning Jaws, I get it too. I mean, I also think we've talked about Paddington on podcasts in the past as well, maybe not on a ranked episode. But if I'm thinking about like, Paddington is just such a wholesome fucking thing. And in a world that's just dark and just gloomy and just full of shit, you can easily turn to Paddington and just have a good time. You can shut off the rest of the stuff around the world that's bad, and you can just enjoy this fucking bear. He's just a cute guy in a blue rain jacket and a red hat, and he loves to eat marmalade, and he has a very fun family, and they go on little hijinks together. And I don't know how else to say it without like you guys like watching the film, especially Paddington 2, which I think is like, again, a 10 out of 10 movie. So my vote is obviously Paddington.
See, I feel great watching Jaws. It's an uplifting movie for me. They blow the shit out of that shark by the end of the movie. That's a great ending. You know?
Yeah. But
it's
like,
so funny. It's so funny that you kind of say that, Tom, because I was watching this clip of Stephen Colbert, and he was talking with Quentin Tarantino about The Thing, and he said The Thing is his go-to comfort movie.
Yeah,
which on the surface
totally
makes
get that.
Absolutely no sense, but where it's something that you know not necessarily because you know the outcome, but because you feel a sense of like kind of wonder in it. That wonder and that like excitement kind of brings you back to the first time you saw it. I wonder if it's kind of the same thing with that we could refer to with Jaws. Of course, Paddington is a much nicer, more comfortable, wholesome movie.
Sure,
obviously, but I think when you're talking about an actual film and you're comparing Jaws and Paddington, to watch Jaws for like the 30th time and you still get that feeling of like, oh fuck, don't go in the water, don't go in the water, don't go in the water, don't go in the water. I think that's a testament to it, that it still stands fucking 50 years or something now that it's been out. Yeah, that's a powerful thing to consider.
I think yes, definitely. And I'm not going to counter argument that, but I do think for Jaws's credit, I think it's shaped the movie industry in bigger ways than a Paddington movie has, which I think is important. Like Dan said, like I think that a lot of movies followed suit of what Jaws did in the past, and even subsequent Jaws movies couldn't do after the first Jaws movies, and we're still getting fucking shark movies that suck. like the Meg 2.
Sharknado.
Jaws had that shot with like the zoom in thing as well, like on the beach. Like so many movies riff off of
They're
that.
trying to do that, and I get it. Like Jaws, yes, it's its own thing. It's hard to argue against Jaws, and I am trying to do it with this fucking bear. But
if anybody could, it would be Paddington. If anybody could beat Jaws, it'd be Paddington.
If I'm thinking of a movie I want to watch more, it is Paddington. That's kind of how it is. I do think like Jaws is maybe a more influential film, which I think is important. We should think about that. We should talk about that. But if I'm thinking about like a more enjoyable film, and I always like a movie with a message or something that you learn from it or something like that.
Yeah, don't go in the water.
Great. Yeah, I haven't taken a bath in ages. Laura loves it.
For interest's sake, just because I thought this was maybe would be a tiebreaker in my mind, I went to Rotten Tomatoes. Jaws 97%, Paddington 97%.
Oh shit.
Go Paddington 2.
Paddington 2 99%.
Oh wow.
That's what I'm saying. That's
pretty
what
crazy.
I'm saying.
I just thought that was I was like, oh, maybe this will draw a line in the sand for me, and it did not. So
I think it's again it goes back to all the other nominations that it's like, oh, Dan hasn't seen this movie, Justin hasn't. It's an uphill battle. I don't think I'm gonna win this, but I do think you guys could just
Paddington's
watch
amazing. It is
watch
amazing.
Paddington
promise
2.
you,
My God.
We'll watch Paddington 2 within the next. We'll watch Paddington 2 within the next few weeks.
Yeah, maybe I'm overhyping it, but I just think it's just a pleasant ass movie, and you probably haven't seen a movie like that in a long time. So
I do think, regardless of how amazing it is, I just think there's too many reasons to put Jaws at number one.
And there is one big reason not to have it at number one is because we've already had this conversation on this episode before. No, it's fine. It's fine. We should.
All right, Lion King's number one.
Jaws doesn't like it. Yeah. Let's put Jaws at number one. Let's fucking do it.
I like it.
Are we landing on that?
Yeah, we should
land on Jaws at number one.
There's a lot of laughing, but are we landing on that?
It's laughing, and then after this episode, I'm gonna kill you for not making the right decision. No. I should be clear. I do really like Jaws, and I respect the hell out of it. But the only reason I know all of those stories that Dan has told before is because we talked about them on this show. The ones like, oh yeah, Bruce the shark, he was malfunctioning, so we had to film it the certain way. Yeah. Anyways, number 5 on our top 5 movies with animals as leads, Lion King. Number 4, the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the Matt Reeves one. Number 3, Homeward Bound. Number 2, Paddington. And number 1, Cats, baby. The butthole cut of Jaws. The butthole cut of Jaws, which that's really the only reason I was fighting against it, is because there was no butthole cut of Jaws, and that's a shame. Because there was
that you know about.
Well, there was a butthole cut of every other movie that we've had on this list. The scene where Shadow yells Peter, you see Peter's butthole as he's running towards his dog. It sounds wrong. He's like a 10-year-old boy. Let's go ahead and do honorable mentions here. Honorable mentions. Dan, do you want to just rapid fire the rest of your list here?
Yeah. I put on on my honorable mentions, Babe and Babe 2, Pig in the City, The Jungle Book, Chicken Run, Zootopia, Congo because of the murder apes.
Of course, got it.
Yeah. And another one, I was pretty close for nominating this one. All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh,
yeah, I love that movie.
That's nice. Justin, what do you got?
Yeah, I had Jaws, I had Air Bud, I had Paddington, I had King Kong, I had Babe, I had Stuart Little.
Oh yeah.
I had Ratatouille. Again, The Adventures of Milo and Otis, but you have to ignore all the terrible, terrible animal cruelty that went on behind the scenes. Don't look into it if you want to be happy. Old Yeller, The Fox and the Hound, Dunstan Checks In. You ever watch that one?
What's
that?
I
did.
Never heard of that one.
Jason Alexander Costanza works at a hotel, and then this chimpanzee shows up and he starts working at the hotel. It's fucking stupid. It's very Air Bud-esque, but it's not nearly as good. I was this close to doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Me too. The new one?
I was real close to
the new one.
No, like the 1990 version.
Okay.
The only Well, I shouldn't say the only good one. I haven't seen the newest one.
The new one's better.
The
new one's the best one.
The best live action one.
Okay, fair enough.
And then Free Willy.
Oh yes, that fucking guy. Well,
That fucking guy.
The whale's good. The kid's okay.
The kid is bad. The kid
is bad. Honestly,
God, he sucks.
The whale should have crushed that kid.
I wish the whale would have. The whale. Don't keep whales in captivity. They should eat you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we should have freed Willie a long time ago.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Speaking of Free Willy, Big Dick Godly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just keep thinking of that Simpsons joke that like Willie crushed our boy. It's like, ugh, what a mess.
Yeah. Simpsons did it all, man. Honestly, that's the reason why I was so for Rise of the Planet of the Apes trilogies because of the Simpsons. When that's the line.
Yeah.
It's I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
You'll never make a monkey out of me.
It's so good. Shannon, what do you have? Rapid fire.
Well, it can't be that rapid because I'm trying to skip over ones that have already been said here. So, one that you guys watched, and close to my heart, The Cat from Outer Space.
Oh my God.
Another one that's very much in line with that style of movie. The Barefoot Executive. It was a chimp in an office, and it was amazing.
Okay.
Also, chimps, the movie Monkey Business. Then Black Beauty. We got a horse in there. I think it's the only horse.
Black
nominated.
Beauty, yeah,
Black
yeah,
Beauty,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, we a whole untapped market there of horse
Yeah,
movies.
there's a lot of horse
Another
movies
horse
in
one, Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
Beethoven was mentioned early on. Flipper, Taking It Back to the Sea.
Oh shit! I forgot about Flipper. Wow.
Lassie, another iconic dog movie.
Mhm.
And then I ventured a little bit into dragon territory, and I wouldn't know how that would fly with this group.
Definitely wouldn't.
The 2016 Pete's Dragon, incredible.
It's a good movie.
Oh, so good.
Incredible.
When he comes
And-
like out of the tree and he falls, Cheryl like broke down. She was like,
It's incredible.
like, yeah, she was weeping. Yeah.
It took
So
a
good, that
horribly
movie.
racist Disney movie and made it very, very modern. I don't know.
Acceptable.
Less racist, I guess.
Nice.
And finally, Neverending Story. Another Falcor dragon.
You could also focus on, is it Atreyu, the horse that dies in the swamp?
Trey is the boy.
Oh, Atreyu's the boy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, his stupid horse.
It's stupid horse.
I don't think the stupid horse counts as an animal lead. So.
Yes.
And in number 5, the stupid horse from
I am sad we missed out on so many horse movies, but I was just looking at
A
our
lot
list.
of horse movies.
We have
yeah.
a lot of we have different things, which I'm happy about. We have a lion,
True.
we have an ape, we have a dog, we have a bear, and we have a shark. That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
I love
That's pretty
that.
That's
good.
pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Pretty
That's pretty
good.
good.
Are there any bird movies? Birds.
Oh, tons. Well, not well.
Yeah, the
is there
movie Birds.
tons?
The movie Bird.
Rio.
The movie Birds.
Rio. Probably
Rio.
Angry Birds.
Oh yeah.
I was reading a meme and it said Remy from Ratatouille versus Stuart. If they had a fight, who would win? And then someone wrote, Remy, I hate this debate. He's a street rat. He would absolutely clobber Stuart with his bare hands. Stuart hasn't worked for anything in his life. Remy knows struggle. Stuart is a little bitch. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, he is.
He's just a
Cutthroat,
little
yeah.
bitch. Stuart just gets everything. He has fucking clothes.
There's a little car.
He's a car.
Remy could go on top of somebody's head, like a UFC fighter's head, and control him and just pummel the shit out of Stuart.
It's true.
Simple.
Yeah. For myself, let's see. Finding Nemo, huge, I think, would have been really good. This was dragon category, so I think that's like maybe a different episode. I don't know if maybe How to
We've
Train
done
Your
top
Dragon.
5 dragons,
We already
by the
done
way.
that.
Yeah,
So
we did.
we did do that. So forget How to Train Your
Proved
Dragon.
it,
This literal group did it.
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Ninja Turtles, the new one, is amazing. Puss in Boots from last year, also amazing. Oliver and Company, really like that one. Ice
yeah, okay.
Age, Rango.
Ice Age, yeah.
Rango's really good. That's
Oh yeah, that's
a
a good one.
little dark horse. Porco Rosso, it's a Studio Ghibli film. I really enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's a good
if you want your heart broken, Fox and the Hound.
Oh,
one. Yeah.
So
It's
sad.
Interesting that you bring up Ice Age because I was wondering if we could go prehistoric, and I didn't know if Jurassic Park was going to get brought up in this at all. So yeah, just interesting that you brought up Ice Age.
Well, I mean, we got a sloth, we got an elephant, we got a fucking tiger thing.
it's true. They are animals, though. You're right.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
They
Yeah.
are.
I wouldn't consider the T-Rex though the lead of Jurassic Park. Though.
No, and then do you know what? That's fair. That is fair.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's where the
When I was discussing this episode with my sister, she's like, "Oh, clearly Space Jam." That she's like Bugs Bunny, and then I was like, "But that movie is an MJ focused movie,
Yeah,
right?
it
Like
is.
you can't call Bugs the lead when Michael Jordan exists."
I love Space Jam. Everyone knows I love Space Jam. That
You
would not,
won't shut up about it.
that
Yeah.
would not qualify for this thing. It would not
See,
qualify.
that's
at
what
all.
I told
It just
her.
wouldn't. It just wouldn't.
And then she told me the show is stupid. So
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, and it is. It is. And Great Mouse Detective. I really like that one too.
love
yes.
that
Oh,
movie.
why didn't I say that
Yeah.
one? Yeah, that's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Sherlock Holmes, but
Yeah.
nice.
I love that movie. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today's show. But before we go, of course, we got to thank our guests, Justin, Shannon, and Dan. Justin and Shannon, do you have anything to plug?
Well, here's the thing. We host a podcast, Pull the Plug. We haven't done a show in a while for the main reason that we moved in the end of May. And for reasons that you two know, it was an absolute shit show. But we're good, and we're here now. And we're going to be starting Pull the Plug back up again very, very, very soon. Listeners, you can't see it, but you guys can see. We're currently recording in our garage, and it's
What?
working
Is it working?
pretty well.
It
It's
sounds
working
good.
pretty well.
It
for
sounds
us.
good.
This
Is it cold?
this garage space is it's heated.
Here's the thing: there's an illegal vent in the garage. Like they're not supposed to have a vent in the garage,
Like,
but somebody put it in.
the
So we have air
garage-
conditioning, we got heating. It's all fucking.
You'll be
The
fine.
garage is a party space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right.
So new episodes of Pull the Plug coming hopefully to your ear holes very, very soon. ptppodcast.com. I'm still paying for the domain. So if you could buy some merch and recoup some of those losses, that would be great.
We don't make money podcasting. We're not one of those people.
Absolutely not.
Well, thank you, Justin and Shannon. Dan, what are you up to these days? Do you have anything to plug? If not anything personal, then maybe a game you're playing, a charity, anything like that, a book.
A game or a charity.
Yeah. And Dan's going to be like, definitely a game.
No, nothing really to plug. But I mean, if you want to join me in sharing beloved memories of Chipmunk Adventure or Turner and Hooch, you can definitely message me on X at Lewis Tully, formerly known as Twitter. Yeah.
Amazing.
Don't you hate saying on X?
I really do.
I left
I hate
Twitter.
saying
I
it,
left.
yeah.
I left Twitter as soon as it became X. So no, thank you. But find Dan there if you want to message him about movies that he might have seen with his family.
Yeah.
And you can find me and the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. Check out all the shows, leave a review, do all the fun things, like it, subscribe, all those things. But until next time, we'll see you later. And that's been Top 5 Movies with Animals as Leads. Rawr.
Yeah.
Yazoo!